and welcome to Ditch Witch Diaries. We're here today with Raven and Rebecca, and we are in the herbs of Mercury. So let's just get cooking, shall we? And we'll kick it off with Raven telling us about the herbs of Mercury.
All right. Also, I think I fixed my screen getting cut off on cutting off the bottom part of my slide, which I kept having a problem with. So we'll see if it's better. I tried to flip through it and I think it's better.
Nice.
So with Mercury, first things first, this is the well-known picture of Mercury, but I'm not sure if this is common knowledge or not, but it doesn't really look like this. Most pictures of the planets, when we see the planets really pretty, they're image enhanced, right? But the way that this image was enhanced is the different colors are associated with different minerals on the planet. So it's like the color of the minerals have been enhanced. And also playing a part into that, the more blue the area, the newer the layer of dirt or whatever the material is, and the darker the colors, the older the layer. So it's almost like if an asteroid hits it and knocks a big clump of dirt or whatever off the surface, then it shows up more blue.
Nice. Nice, I said.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know that.
Very.
So time-wise, it spends about 2 to 3 weeks in each sign, and then when it retrogrades, so Mercury goes into retrograde 3 to 4 times a year, and when it's in retrograde, it can stay in a sign up to 10 weeks. And we haven't really talked about retrograde in the planets, and I'm not super familiar with the process of it being in Mercury, or in retrograde, but I watched some videos and it's kind of confusing. But technically what happens is it looks like the planet, and when we're looking in the horizon, it looks like the planet is moving backwards, and that's why it's called retrograde. And so the reason that it does this, from my understanding, is so if we're spinning and Mercury is spinning as well, and if we're spinning at some point, if we're spinning in the same direction, when we're coming up to the planet, so if you think of I don't know, once the 2 points, 2 points in the planet are aligned, basically, then it looks like the planet is ahead of us and going forward in the horizon. And then once we pass it and it's kind of in our rear view, then it looks like it's going backwards. And so from my very basic understanding, I watched 3 videos on this, but that's technically what happens is we surpass it, we lap it, and then it goes into retrograde. And so when we talk about retrograde, it can either mean things in that planet are happening in the opposite of the way that they normally would, or that those qualities are going to be more internal. So for example, we talked about Saturn last week.
Yeah.
I think it was last week. And with Saturn, it's about structure, discipline. We talked, I think it's the Capricorn sign. It's very goal oriented. But when it's in retrograde, it can either mean that we are going to be more or less disciplined, more unfocused, more unstable. So that would be the opposite. Or it could mean that we need to go internal. So when Saturn's in retrograde, potentially we need to break down and analyze and figure out things internally before we do them in the real world. So changing the structure of our thinking or something. So that's a very, very brief general thing, piece of information on retrograde. I just thought that I would bring that up because a lot of people talk about Mercury in retrograde, but people don't really talk about any of the other planets, and all of the planets can go into retrograde.
Well, you know what? It's interesting because it's our perception of it. It doesn't really go backwards. It doesn't really go retrograde. It doesn't really move back. It's not stopping or anything. It's just how we see it.
So yeah, it's behind us, basically.
Yes, exactly.
So a lot of people talk about Mercury in terms of communication. And it definitely is, but it's also, it's anything else. It's basically about how we use our sensory system. So our sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch, how we use these sensory systems to like collect information and like analyze or think about information, and also to communicate that information back. That's what it's about. It's not just like verbal communication, but it's about thinking and processing and taking in information, and like taking in a smell or taking in a like people talking or seeing something, and then the whole process of us like perceiving that information. So it's about like quick wit, thinking, possibilities, opinions, all of these things that we kind of crunch on and chew on, but also like rationalizing. And it is definitely about communication, but it could also be like listening to others and stuff. And mercurial energy can be good or bad, just like with all of the planets' energies. There's going to be a lot of good or bad, but Mercury is generally energizing. It's like high energy. Your ability to like really stay focused and in tune when you're receiving that information, or like communicating really well and like energetically. So keywords are perception, so interpreting information around us, communication, intellect, quit thinking, and then sensory usage. Like I said, like smelling things. Like if you would like walk into a house and you smell somebody cooking cookies and you realize that that's what it is. Oh, they're making cookies. Like that's very mercurial energy, because you're like thinking about things and using your memory and stuff. So then we're going to go into each of ours. So my Mercury's in Cancer, of course. I think I have like 4 or 5 Cancer placements. So with Cancer, the Mercury aspect is we like to think about the past a lot. I found one website that says the past is their mental playground, which I really like. Thinking about what happened in the past and how you could have done things differently, how things could have gone worse or how things could have gone better. Just like reminiscing, which is also very just Cancerian energy in general, is like holding on tight to sentimental things. With Cancer's, conclusions are typically well thought out, but this could be good or bad, like with biases or not. So I could have like this unbiased piece of information and I draw conclusions from it and it totally makes sense. But it could also be like I'm stuck in this biased way of thinking. So thinking I'm right when I'm not right, and just kind of digging into the reasons why I think I'm right, even if it doesn't make sense. So conclusions can be drawn out, and also quick to like be able to draw other people out of their shell with our like communication, the way we communicate, plus the Cancerian like nurturing aspect.
Nice.
Yeah.
Seems legit.
Yeah. So with Sag, so Sag and Mercury they're like always ready with like a good joke or something like positive to think, even if they think that they're in a negative situation. It doesn't seem to take a lot of effort to think of at least one like positive aspect of that thing. And also disappointments aren't necessarily like terrible to them, because Sagittarius likes to like think about things and navigate through things, and so they're often thinking about another path to get to their goal, or like another ideal of something else that they want. And so when they're disappointed, it's kind of like, oh, that's a bummer, but let me like reposition myself to keep going. Also, I thought this was hilarious. Accumulates information on volumes of philosophy and religion.
Oh my gosh. And the reason why we're saying Sag is because my Mercury
Yes.
Sag. So, and that's hilarious because I do have volumes. I like have
books on books on books on books.
Yeah, I just keep collecting the books on books on books. I can't stop. It's like
I love
insane.
it.
I know.
I was like, yeah, that's perfect. And again, that's associated with Mercury, because Mercury is about like consuming information, right? Reading things, listening to things. And so Sag likes to, you know, explore, like widen their knowledge, and then doing that through like books specifically is like hilarious because that's so on par. And then Sag often feels like their existence should serve or does serve some greater purpose. And so this could be a lot of things. This could be like through religion based. So if you think that, if you're a Sag and you think that if you align with a religion, then you might think that that is the reason for living. It could be like just to do things that you enjoy. Like maybe, oh, I think our purpose right now is to like enjoy life and find things we enjoy. And so then you go down that path. But they often think that there's some type of greater purpose. It could be to help another person, right? Like our greatest purpose in this life is to help other people, whatever the case may be. They like to think that there's some type of purpose.
Very nice.
Yes. Then goddesses, typically the goddesses are associated with like scribes, writing, learning, science, math, messages, like being a messenger is a really big one. I didn't find a ton, but I found a couple. So we have Saraswati, which is the Hindu goddess of like wisdom and learning, so perfect fit. We have Iris, who is the Greek messenger goddess. We have Rosmerta, who is, I couldn't really find any association or any reason why she would be associated with Mercury. She's the goddess of abundance. She's the reason why she's like the association of the fruit and like vegetable filled cornucopia. It's like associated with her. But she doesn't really do anything, or she's not associated with like writing, but she was said to be the god Mercury's consort. And so it seems like everybody just tied her into like the planet Mercury because of her association with the god Mercury.
That's like on the other one, Saturn. It was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes.
Weird, question mark.
Yeah.
Then we have Anansi, which is the Akon, which is now Ghana, goddess of like stories, wisdom, knowledge, and trickery. So perfect there too. And then we have Saset, which is the goddess of wisdom, knowledge, writing. She was said to be the scribe of the gods, and the ancient Egyptians also credited her with creating their alphabet.
Nice.
Yeah. And then we do have some gods. I said gods boo, but just in case somebody was interested. We have Al-Qutb, who is an Arabian scribe and a deity, but there's no gender associated with them.
Okay.
Then
I'll
the
take
typical
I'll take it.
I know, right? I put it first. I was like, I'm not gonna mix you in with all the men.
Exactly.
So then we have typical Mercury, who's the Roman god of communication. He was also a messenger to the gods. And then Hermes, who is the Greek equivalent of Mercury. So those are the two most associated with the planet Mercury. But then we also have Thoth, who is the Egyptian god, typically associated with the moon, but he was also a scribe. So some people attribute him to Mercury as well. Hermod, who is the Norse messenger god. Gabrinus, who is the Celtic version of the Mercury, and then Nabu, who is the Babylonian god of literacy.
Nice.
Yeah, some good ones. So the element is water, which makes a lot of sense when we look at that like colorized version of it as well, very blue, which I associate with water. Although the color isn't blue, the colors are green and yellow, which is, I understand why, but I just like it with blue.
Yeah, keep that in mind. And when we're looking at the next, when we're looking at the herbs, because the green and the yellow really play in.
Yeah.
And Gemini and Virgo, though, Gemini is air and Virgo is earth, right?
I think earth, yeah.
Yeah.
So got a whole, which I mean, the air totally makes sense. I could see that. I don't know, it's kind of hard. Then we have, so the crystals and the minerals, emerald was the big one. Moss agate, which is one of my personal favorites. Celestite, which is very blue. Dendritic opal. I love dendritic pieces. It's so cool.
What
They
is
look
a dendritic piece? What is it? I'm
they
looking up dendritic opal right now.
dendrites. I'm actually holding a dendrite. I don't know if you can see it, but dendritic pieces have like these black veins in them.
Oh, I see,
And
Bumblebee.
it's like iron, some type of like iron or something else that veins through it. But I freaking love it. I love dendritic quartz. That's my favorite. But I like all dendritic pieces. I think that they're super cool. Did you find a picture of the opal?
No, but I will. I just stopped when dendritic opal.
It's really, really pretty. I do love opals too.
Oh, yeah, that's your. So it's like this black veining kind of thing here.
Mhm.
Oh, wait, let's see. There we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do I have another? I have dendritic pieces in my in with all my other crystals, but that was the only one I had out right now. But they're so cool. I love them. Okay, what else we got? Botswana agate, which is like pink agate.
Mm.
Kind of Botswana kind of looks like flower agate, actually. I don't know if they're the same, but they look very similar. Howlite, which I love, and I think that howlite's a good stone for this because sorry, I don't know why I'm going off on this crystal
That's okay.
but I like
I love
howlite a
this.
lot because howlite is heavily associated with dreams. Like if I'm going through a period of not remembering my dreams, I'll put howlite in my pillow. It's like very dream association, which is communication, in my opinion, communication from like our higher selves or our subconscious or the world or whatever communication. So anyways, I love howlite, fire agate, fluorite, shungite, fuchsite, and aura quartz, which I have very negative feelings towards aura quartz, but that's okay.
Why? Because it's what?
Because it's treated.
It is. It's fake.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say. Because it's fake.
Yeah, and
I hate that.
Yes, me too. I don't like things that are treated. Okay, here's the thing. I don't mind lab grown crystals. In fact, I see why people would have problems with them because they're not like natural, but I also like that we can get the same material and the same like chemical compounds and not have to destroy the earth for it. So I don't mind that. But if it's treated, it's like different. I don't like aura quartz. I don't like
dyed agate or whatever.
Yeah, I don't like dyed agate. No, I don't like amethyst. Like what is it called?
When they
Grape
heat treat it or whatever.
Yeah, grape amethyst is really pretty, but I don't have a draw towards it because it's colored. It doesn't need it.
It's not real. It's not real. It's fake. Yeah. It's like and that the aura quartz, I think it's even like it's dyed.
It's like coated in metal. It's so like why would you do that? So
and weird. If you want something that's like rainbowy kind of like I was looking at some bismuth that was rad.
Yeah, bismuth is cool.
And that like is like an insane like structure, and it is like just the colors of the rainbow like all through it in such a beautiful natural way. You don't have to dye anything. You can just look around, get something else. Like you know, like anyway, my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. Just there's like a million. Well, there's really probably what like maybe I don't know 15 colors of calcite. Like make a calcite rainbow if you want like the rainbow colors. You know, yeah. It's just whatever. If you like aura quartz, that's fine. But we are not a fan. Yeah, so then organs, brain, sensory nerves. So sensory nerves being like the nerves associated with your sensory system. So like your optic nerve, it's like the things that are picking up this information, the light waves, the sound waves, all that stuff. The modes is, that's not hot, dry.
It is hot and dry. It is.
Is it? Yeah. I think that
Mercury.
Yeah. I thought that I didn't change that from the last one, but I did. Yeah. And then Wednesday is the day. That's right.
Yeah. All the herbs are hot and dry that are in hers. So. Yeah.
So then we
Or hot
have
and
just
moist, some of them. I don't know. Whatever.
Mm,
It's hot.
I don't know. Mm, makes sense.
Hot AF.
So with magic, it's good for like any type of magic associated with like knowledge, like gaining knowledge or insight, your rational mind, communication. And remember, communication is also like listening is part of that, body language is a part of that, all that stuff. Trickery or deception, and then changing your perception or your perspective.
Nice.
Yes. So then herbs are typically like sometimes they're fine or feathery, or they have like fine or feathery leaves because it's associated with the look of the nervous system. Medicinal plants that affect like brain function, speech, thought, lungs, all of these are associated with communication, nervous system, or anything that kind of quickens the nervous system function, like if it speeds it up. So herbs that increase things like memory, intellectual capacity, like being able to communicate with others or understand others, anything that's fast growing or creeping, because Mercury is very fast. I think it takes like 88 days to rotate around the sun, so it's very quick. And then herbs that combine well with like with other herbs because of the pairing and the partnership and stuff. And I saw a couple places that said like fleetingly aromatic, basically that have a strong smell, but that doesn't last. So something like licorice might be considered in that because it's a strong smell if you smell it, but then the second you put it down, like you can't smell it anymore. And then here's a master list from Alchemy Works and also our pictures of Pharaoh.
I love that. You're like, I'm not doing this.
I'm not.
Take a picture at last one.
The other one was bad enough.
Awesome. Excellent.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you so much. I learned so much about Mercury and the planets of Mercury and Mercury in Sag and Mercury in Cancer. So nice.
Yeah.
And join us next time. We're going to do a planet of Mercury. So we will see you at the next Ditch Witch Diaries.